Hello, aloha. Welcome to Hawaii and my little pan flute shop. Today I want to show you a very interesting and fun instrument. This is the 10-tube Panatonic panpipe. And it's tuned in a way that you can't play a wrong note. Everything on it sounds good. It truly transforms your wind into song. Let me show you. Merely grab it, sort of like you're reaching out to say hello. How do you do, Mr. Pan Flute? Pull it up to your lips. Make a small opening, place it directly underneath your lip and blow. You can see it has a very full and rich sound. Sounds good on almost any kind of music. Celtic music. Music from around the world. The blues. Beautiful melodies like this pretty Irish piece. Every note plays so easily. You can also play this panpipe in different modes, and I have another one just like this that I merely changed 2 notes, and this is what it sounds like. It's a pretty instrument. And it's also great for children. All the nursery rhymes that we learned for kids are easily played on it. So, do yourself a favor, have a lot of fun. This is an instrument you're going to love for years and years. Aloha. Aloha. Welcome to my studio. The purpose of this video is to give you a good start, an introduction to the pan flute, which you can apply to any pan flute that you play, not just specifically to the one that I'm holding right now. Now, there are several techniques, many of which you really won't be using for a little while, but I thought I would give them to you anyway, and when it comes time to use them, you can reference this video. Now, the first thing, of course, that you want to do is you want to hold your instrument and you want to play it. And that's a natural instinct. And even though there's many other aspects I would like to tell you first, let's start off with just holding your instrument and getting your first sound. Now, think of welcoming your pan flute like you would shake somebody's hand. So you just reach out, grab the pan flute, and bring it back to you. You're holding it in a vertical fashion. This hand, your left hand, is really just a guiding hand. It doesn't support much of the weight at all. It guides the instrument, and later on it will help you with vibrato. But I'll show you that a little bit later. Let's talk about making your very first sound. Now, to make a sound on a pan flute is similar to a flute. You have to make a very small opening in the center of your lips, and through that the air will get focused, go across the edge, and be split on the other side. Now watch. I put my lips together, sort of in a half smile. Bring them back a little bit, and pretend like I'm spitting a pumpkin seed out. In fact, use the tip of your tongue on the roof of your mouth as if you were spitting a pumpkin seed out. Okay, now let's bring the pan flute up. Let's pick a middle note. Place it on our lips, just underneath the lip. Not actually on it, not too far below it, but just as it's touching underneath your lip. Bring it into that smile. Now, at first, you may not get that note. There are several reasons. At first, you don't have a very good focus, so you may be blowing just kind of. You're not going to get anything. It has to be a small opening and a bit of a focus. Second of all, you may have the instrument too high or too low. I recommend looking in the mirror to get an idea of where the instrument is on your lip. When the sound gets good, then make sure and note where that is. Maybe start with it a little higher and then bring it down. When you find the spot, you'll hear the sound. Now, some days that will be good, other days it won't. That's the way it is when you start the pan flute. After a while, you'll get more and more consistent, and then eventually you won't even think about it anymore. So, when we can get that note, we want to use our tongue to begin each note. Then hold the note as long as you can. Now let's assume that you're getting the first note. Let's go to the second pipe after the first. Alright, now you see you move the pipes more than your head. Now, as your lips, the muscles in your lips get stronger and you have better control over the stream of air, you'll be able to go up the scale farther and get the higher notes. So let's try a higher pipe. Of course, it's much harder to play these higher notes than it is the middle notes, especially the very highest note. So we won't attempt the very highest note at first. Now let's try lower notes. Now you'll find that the way you play the lower notes and the way you play your higher notes are a little bit different from each other. On the lower notes you can have a more open lip. In the higher notes, definitely the airstream gets smaller and smaller. Plus the instrument comes down a little bit lower on your lip. Then the same thing higher. Okay, now that is the first thing that I would try in your pan flute, just holding some long notes until you get more sure of where that good note is. Now, some other things to consider on the pan flute. One is breathing. Now, the ideal way to breathe, and the way that most musicians are taught, is that you breathe from your diaphragm, not from your chest. Put one hand on your chest and another on your diaphragm, and breathe into your diaphragm. Expand this one out. And after that becomes full, then your chest fills up. Now as you blow out, push against this hand while slowly controlling the release of the air. Again, one hand down here, another hand on the top. Breathe into this hand. Now, as you slowly exhale, push back against your lower hand and provide resistance against that hand. That's expanding your diaphragm, and at the same time blow out. Keep pushing against your lower hand. It is that technique that's going to enable you to play long passages without needing a breath every moment. Also, you may find that you get a little dizzy at first because you're breathing in a lot of oxygen, and until you get used to that, you can get a little dizzy. I remember one of my first flute lessons, my teacher was talking to me and I was kind of off in the clouds. Of course, as you get used to it and as you control your airstream better, you won't be using as much air as you do right now. Okay, so first, holding the pan flute, finding the tube that you want to play, bringing your lips together in a little smile, a small opening, like you're spitting out a pumpkin seed, with your tongue to start the note. Bring the pan flute up just below your bottom lip. Taking a breath in your lower hand. And slowly let it out. Use your tongue. Okay, I know it's not too exciting at the very beginning, but this is some of the basic things that you have to get under your belt before you're going to be really ready to play. All of this will progress pretty fast, and in the next few weeks you won't be thinking about a lot of these things. Now, some of the ways to enhance your sound is a technique called vibrato. Now really this is way too advanced for you to think about at this moment, but since I'm not in your home every week, I'm going to tell you a lot of things right now that over time you'll come to use. Now there's two ways to use vibrato. One that's unique to the pan flute is to use a hand vibrato. And the other is a way that silver flute players and a lot of wind instruments use, and that's your diaphragm vibrato. Now, I'll start with the hand vibrato. It's used with your left hand, and it's kind of a motion similar to the way a violinist might play. Hold your pan flute with this hand and slowly shake it back and forth, to and from. It's that kind of motion, except you're merely touching the pan flute and applying some of it. I'll show you. Has a very nice effect. Now the other way is the breath vibrato, the diaphragm vibrato. And you do that by first learning to make pulses with your diaphragm. So putting your hand lower down, your lower down hand, try taking in your breath and going hoo, 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 each time pressing against your hand. Hoo, 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 hoo. Now it is this idea that turns into a breath vibrato. When you first practice it, you sort of do it in a rhythm. And eventually it becomes free. Now I like to use a combination of both vibratos when I play. There's hand. And there's breath. So you can see there is a right spot to use either of them. And it's up to you. This is really artistic choice, how and when you play vibrato. Okay, now again that's really much too advanced, but eventually you will begin to do things like that. Let's talk about another technique called playing sharps and flats. Now it's totally possible to play all the sharps and flats on the pan flute, and there's a couple of techniques to do this also. One is the tilting technique. You can play a note and tilt your pan flute at about a 30-degree angle. And you'll notice that when you're tilting, what is happening is your lower lip is covering the pipe a little more, and that causes the note to go flat. The other way to do it is by using your jaw, by saying, oh, oh, dropping your jaw. Some players like to use more the jaw, other players like to use the tilting motion. So it's possible to play in any key on the pan flute. Again, this is a technique more that you're going to use later than right at the beginning when you're still more concerned about just making a good sound. But I want you to have all of these things in your range of knowledge, and when it comes time to do this, then you can look further into it, and you can always email me or phone me and I can help you at that time. Now, another thing while you're playing is how you articulate on the pan flute. You can play in a smooth manner without tonguing each note, lightly tonguing each note, tonguing each note in a harder, playing with a pretty sound, a sweet sound, or a chiffy sound. These are all possibilities that the pan flute has. You're not limited to any one technique or any one sound. I really would like you to experiment and try many, many different things. Well, there is so much more to the pan flute than we can cover in one time. So just consider this a beginning introduction, something to get you going. And as you get further along, we can do some further lessons, and there'll be some more advanced books that I can recommend to you, and we can talk on the phone or by email. So mostly I want you to enjoy playing your instrument, have fun with it.